Right. See, the other thing is, you should be videoing.
I don't like doing video on this. The files are so big.
Don't worry about this. That's what they're supposed to be. You can make them smaller. I know, I'm recording it all.
When the rabbi used to come into the synagogue, he would come in from all the way in the back.
Yeah.
And come up this path over here and then go to the front.
To the red seat?
To the red chair. And everybody would separate.
Now, there's no women here.
No, there are in the upstairs, behind the glass.
Oh, they're behind the glass?
They'd be behind the glass, yeah.
Really? Now, is this your synagogue you went to as a kid?
Yeah. This was the place, the main place.
The main place. And what was it like in here when the Rebbe was here?
It was...
Yeah, you were talking about the other day about it was so hot that they had the air conditioning here.
They drilled holes through the wall, and they had these big ducts that would come in. Because when he was here, especially on the holidays, and people from all over the world wanted to come here and participate. So people, they would take out all the benches and put in like bleachers, and people were stacked up to the ceiling. And the Rebbe would come to the middle part, which is called the bima, and he would hold this little Torah, and he would swing around and dance with it, and the place would go berserk. Everybody jumping and dancing. It was 5,000 or 10,000 people in this room.
In this room.
In this room, and the energy was phenomenal. You can't believe it unless you've seen it.
And did you look like one of these guys?
Yeah, I look exactly like any of these guys. The hat and the beard.
The hat and the beard. And when did you change?
In my early 20s. I was 21.
And how old are you now?
42.
42.
So exactly half of my life ago. So it's almost as if I've lived two lives. Two lives of the exact same amount of years, of 21 years. 21 being part of it and 21 not being part of it. It's just interesting. I've never thought of that number before. I've always considered myself on the fence. Like, even though I've left, I didn't really leave with my entire heart, mind, and soul.
Right, but you still do tefillin?
Sure.
And what else do you do?
I only eat kosher food. I study. I observe some of the holidays.
But you're at odds with part of your culture, your upbringing.
I'm at odds with the community in how they sometimes mistreat their own and come up with rules that are not in the Torah, and they just use their status just to control people. And
so would you say this is mind control here?
I don't know if you want to call it mind control, like like a secret CIA program to brainwash people. What I'm talking about is community control. We don't want people to stand out. We don't want people to step out. We suppress individuality. If somebody dares, pick up a violin because they enjoy it, the rabbis will yell at them like, "You're wasting time that you could be studying the Torah. How dare you play a violin? Somebody should take that violin and shove it up your ass. And until you bleed, and then someone should take that blood and throw it at your mother. And then." In my situation, they would come to my house and break windows in my house, cut the tires on my car because they disagreed with me going to the library and reading a Hanukkah book.
No less Bukowski.
No less Bukowski, yeah. I graduated to Bukowski after that.
So you went from from the Lubavitch to the Bukowski.
Yeah, so I'm a Bukowski chassid.
A chassid. I'm sure Bukowski would turn over in his grave.
Yeah. and he would do so with the most colorful, dirty words possible, which is what we all love about him. Yeah.
Right.
But, by the way, the Rebbe not only didn't use dirty words, he wouldn't even use negative words. He wouldn't he wouldn't say the word bad. Like if now when I criticize people in the community, I'm not criticizing Rabbi Schneerson. He was a great man. I'm criticizing people within segments and people within the community who are jerks. But Rabbi Schneerson was a holy man. He was a great man.
You had actual contact with him?
Yes.
In which way?
I will tell you, but I want to explain that he would never say a negative word. If he wanted to talk about a certain terminology or about a certain sin or a certain current event in the world that was a negative thing, he wouldn't say this event that's going on right now is bad. Instead, he would say this event is not good. It conveys the same message, but he won't use that negative language. He never used negative language of saying something is bad or evil. He would say it's not holy or it's not good. And if more of the people in this community would follow Rabbi Schneerson's teachings and not just follow their own zealotry, as a community, they'd be a lot greater.
And you left the community when?
I was around 21, and I was...
How soon after Schneerson...
3 years before he died.
Oh, it was before he died?
Yeah.
And they kept...
But he was already ill at that time. He suffered a major stroke about 2 or 3 years before he died, and he was very ill. But they still brought him to the synagogue. But he was in a wheelchair, and he couldn't talk, and he couldn't walk. He couldn't move his left side from a major stroke. So instead of walking to the front of the synagogue, they wheeled him in a wheelchair. They built a platform all the way in the back. If you see it, you see where that clock is, right?
Right.
And then you see that set of curtains to the left.
Right.
So they would wheel him into that set of curtains, and then they would open the curtains so everybody could see him. And there are videos of this online on YouTube. You could see when he was when he came out to the curtains, he couldn't move, but he would nod his head in approval of people singing and dancing to try to cheer everybody up.
Now you're saying that they're like Primo Levi. They don't believe Primo Levi died either.
When he died, there was a schism in the community. People weren't sure what to do next. Usually, in a Hasidic dynasty, the grand rabbi, when his time comes and he passes away, his eldest son takes over the mantle and becomes the next rabbi. Rabbi Schneerson had no children, so nobody knew what to do next. Some people said that he's the Messiah. Some people said maybe he's not. Some people said that he never died. He's just hiding somewhere. It's just a test to see how long we could take it, or to see if we could do it on our own without seeing him on a daily basis for inspiration. And the way to tell the who's who without knowing who's who, look at their yarmulke and look what it says on it. Like it says, it's a biblical verse that they've taken and changed the words around to imply that the Rebbe is the Messiah. Those who believe that, wear that on their garments to show everybody.
And the other ones who don't?
Well, if they don't, it's not necessary that they don't believe it, but the ones who do wear that, they're definitely showing that they do believe it.
And what do you believe?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot there. He was the greatest rabbi of the generation. He was the leader of the generation, not just in this community, but in all communities, wherever they find themselves all over the world. So, by definition, what is a Messiah? It's somebody who's a leader that inspires people to return to the ways of the Torah and of goodness and kindness. So he fits that qualification. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. And no.
But we'll keep it for the sequel.
Right, we'll keep it for the sequel. So tell me what's going on here.
There's people who are studying. There's also a school here, a rabbinical school. So most of these guys are like in their teens or early 20s, and they're studying for their rabbinical ordination. And class ends at 9:30. That's the way I remember it. It starts at 7:30 in the morning.
Did you go to this class?
Yeah.
And did you become a rabbin?
No. I was expelled from school by being not admitted back the next year, so I never had my chance to finish.
And why were you expelled?
Because one summer I worked in a summer camp, and the guy who I worked for was a conniving thief, and he decided to spread a rumor about me. I was the head counselor of the camp, and it was 100 degrees every day, and at the end of the day, camp ended at 4:30, and once we sent all the kids home safely, I like to go to the walk-in refrigerator and sit and read a book, for 2-3 hours till the sun goes down. And then it's safe to come out. Maybe the temperature has dropped a little bit. There was one time I was leaving the walk-in refrigerator, and one of the girls who worked in the girls' camp was walking in, and I just held the door open because I'm a gentleman. So this guy saw that, and he spread a rumor about me. But he spread it because he wanted an excuse not to pay me. So at the end of the summer, he told me, you had something going on with the girl in the camp, therefore, I don't have to pay you, you're not what I expected, just go home. But that rumor that he spread got me not admitted back to school the next year.
How do you feel about that?
At the time, I was very hurt, and at first, I went through a stage of anger, and I went through a stage of using heavy drugs to numb my anger and my pain and rejection. And at first I blamed that guy who spread the rumor. Then I blamed the community. And I blamed my parents.